Good afternoon, Rotarians, and welcome to another Joint District 5690 and 5670 webinar. Today we are focusing our webinar on the assistant or area governors and trying to help them, to help those AGs know what their roles should be, what the role will be as we transition into a new and exciting new district here in Kansas. My name is Fred Heismeyer, and I'm moderating tonight. And we have two people who are our guest presenters, and they are, if I can get this to, there we go. They are past AG, and Ken, I had you as an AG, but maybe you will end up being a stand-in this year. Ken Shobe and AG Kelly Thompson. Ken is with 5670 and has been an AG for a number of years. And Kelly has been an AG, I think this is your second term, Kelly. And both have good experiences. So I want to thank both Ken and Kelly for doing this. And we will turn this over to Ken, who will begin our training piece. So Ken, it's all yours.
Okay. And go ahead. Yeah, there we go. Good evening. I'm Ken Shobe. I was an assistant governor for 3 or 4 years, which means I was an assistant governor for 3 or 4 different governors, and I found it a very interesting job. But some of the outcomes we'd like to talk about it tonight will be the role of an assistant governor, why AGs are important, and how important an AG's understanding what Rotary is. Those are just general outcomes, and we'll get more specific as we go along. As an assistant governor, you are the connection between your clubs and the district. The relationship you build with club leaders make Rotary stronger. According to Rotary International, the role of an AG is, quote, is to help your assigned clubs become more effective by assisting the DG with their administration. That's a pretty broad statement, and most governors have their own expectations. From my experience, it's best to get to know your clubs personally. To do that, you'll need to visit, and we'll talk about that a little more in detail towards the end of this presentation. As far as why AGs are important, well, I believe that it's got to be a challenge for a district governor to really get involved with 30 or more clubs in their district in 1 year. AGs can provide some of the continuity, especially if you act for more than 1 year, and a conduit between the clubs and the district governor. Additionally, it's going to be more increasingly important in future years after the merger, when we'll have more than 60 clubs, or potentially more than 60 clubs in the district. I don't envy the district governors having to travel to 60 different clubs in 6 months. Future DGs will be relying on the AGs even more heavily than ever. And that's why I think AGs are important. It's going to be really an aid to the district governor and the district itself. As far as AG's understanding of Rotary, general knowledge about Rotary is important because the clubs and the club presidents will see you as another resource that they can tap into. While AGs are not necessarily given the intense training the DGs received, an AD can learn a lot using Rotary's online resources, attending district training events, along with Rotary International training events. I've always learned something while attending a district conference or a PETS and district assemblies. One of the best learning experiences I ever had was to attend a Rotary Zone Institute on a future leader track. The more knowledgeable about Rotary initiatives and the foundation in general that you are, the more effective you will be as an AG. Next, we'll talk a bit, discuss some of the following topics concerning responsibilities. What do you do? Okay. Well, what you do is often dependent upon your district governor. No matter who the DG is, he or she will typically want their DG to help coordinate the DG's visit with clubs, often wanting the the assistant governor to attend with the governor. The AG should be the interface between or go-to person between that district governor and the clubs. An AG should participate in district training events. And that should be especially PETS. The PETS, or the President-elect Training Seminar, is probably the most likely, the first chance you'll meet new club presidents. Unless you're a repeating AG, and you might have met the new president-elects in previous club meetings. But what I would suggest is to get their contact info so that you can schedule a visit early in the year. I tried, when I was an AG, to meet each of my clubs in the August through September timeframe. Kind of leave July alone to let them get settled, but then hit them hard in August and September. But at least get to them before their visit with the district governor so they get to know. And you also need to get to know your district governor. And that's another reason for attending PETS and district assemblies. You just get to know people. As far as how to prepare, keeping the DG informed about each of your club's progress is a responsibility which can be undertaken initially by helping a president assess their club and not only help develop goals, but assist in entering them in the Rotary Club Central. Of course, this implies that you know how to, that you're familiar with Rotary Club Central, which is part of your preparation. You can also provide the DG with feedback via Rotary Club Central. Another task by some governors is to attend special events being held by clubs during the year. When I initially meet with a club president, I like to see if they have an annual or special event occurring during the year. Some clubs have a special meeting for Veterans Day on Veterans, or an anniversary year if it's their 50th, 75th, 90th, or 100th anniversary of their club charter. Sometimes they'll put on a special meeting. They may have joint meetings with other clubs that they would want your attendance. Maybe a dedication of a completed district grant project that might attend in lieu of the governor not wanting or not being able to attend, not wanting to, but not being able to attend. So help the incoming clubs. You've got to know what their goals are. So helping them plan their goals can be an aid, and you can do that. You know, you don't have to be in person, but you can help them. I think Kelly's going to continue with the resources tools, and I'll turn it over to her. Kelly?
Hello, this is Kelly Thompson, and this is actually 2+ terms of, this is actually my 7th year as an AG. I'm also very familiar with a lot of the resources that are out there because I've been a part of the PETS planning committee for, I don't know how many years, probably 9 or 10 years. So I'm going to talk about the resources that are out there through Rotary.org. The first one is the training booklet for the assistant governor. A lot of the material that Ken has covered already are bullet points that are in that lead your district assistant governor. And the way you are going to get there is when you go to Rotary.org, if you go to the member section, that's where you can find all of the tools. If you go to for members on the first page and then do club and district administration, you're going to find information that you'll need as an AG. And there's just a wealth of information that you need that will help you lead from a district level. as far as the next bullet point, governor's communications, I would hope that you're always making it a point to read the district newsletter so you know what's going on out there in our district, and reading all the emails that you might get from either Andrea or Sterling. Some of the emails that we will be receiving will also require action, and I hope that you respond in a timely manner to everything that you receive. As far as district training events, the first thing we all have coming up is a district conference, October 19th and 20th, and so I hope everybody's got that on their calendar so that we can further our training in that way. The district directory is something that is worked on very, very hard by somebody, at your district level, and that is a very important resource to have. I've had clubs ask me already about additional grant information. I had somebody express an interest in maybe starting a Rotaract club, and so all I had to do was go to the district directory, and I had contact names for them, exactly who they needed to get in touch with. And I think that's an important point. They always have access to the district directory, and I started my conversation with them telling them how they could get to the district directory, but then I provided the information for them. But also teaching your clubs about what resources are out there, I think, is part of our job too, so that that the clubs are can develop their own leadership and can take their own ideas and do things with them. But that district directory is a terrific resource for knowing what direction to point people. The other thing that you should be visiting regularly is the district's website. Again, a terrific resource to talk about what's going on in our district, the way we get to our district directory, the way we keep track of important dates, getting how you can get to the district newsletter. There's so many things I know that are on 5690's district website. I'm not sure what is all on Ken's website, but those are great resources for us. And then also social media. Make sure that you are checking with your clubs to see if they have a Facebook page or how they might communicate, and make sure you are taking advantage of keeping up with them through their social media. Going on to Rotary support. Of course, we know that we have our district governors we can always go to and ask questions. We've also have those same district leaders that I talked about in the district directory. If you've got membership questions, if you have questions about grants, those leaders are there for us also. And so make sure that if you have specific questions, you're getting with those people. Regional coordinators, those people probably are a little bit more difficult for us to reach out to, but we can definitely utilize a regional coordinator if necessary. Somebody that is an expert in membership or is an expert in public relations. Those are the types of people that are available at the regional level for us to get in touch with. Where I want to spend a little bit more time is on the online resources. I have become much more familiar with what is out there on Rotary.org by attending the Pets Alliance meeting, and it's really quite exciting the work Rotary has put into the website. I feel like that in the past we really struggled, and sometimes I still struggle with things, but it's amazing how much you can find on the website just by going to the members area. I've already talked about the link to the club and district administration, and that's where I have started going to go ahead and link into some of the other aspects of things. The Brand Center, that's the place you're going to go whenever you want any information on any type of Rotary logo things. There's the whole campaign out there that you can personalize for a particular club or a district, for the We Are Rotary campaign, for the People of Action campaign. There's all kinds of little snippet videos that you could share with the clubs as far as what things they could do to motivate their members or to share the word of Rotary. As far as the member center goes, we're going to talk a little bit about how to manage membership leads, and I think that is probably one of the things that has been a disappointment to Rotary International as far as the lack of follow through on those membership leads. When I was there this summer, they talked about how few of them are getting followed up with correctly. We are getting emails that say that there's this membership lead. That means somebody has taken an interest by going to the Rotary website and saying, I might be interested in being a Rotary member. But you can't just take that email and forward it on to a club. You actually have to follow it through and click on where it says, how do you manage this lead? And it could be that when you read the membership lead, that it has more than one club. I know there's one sitting out there for our district from August that when you look at it, it looks like it's just a Wichita person, but there is actually, when you go in there and read about it, it says Wichita and Pratt. And I noticed that this is from the beginning of August and nobody has followed up on it yet. And so that's something that we all need to do better about. And I think that going to the frequently asked questions in their club and district management, there's a little pamphlet on there on how to manage membership leads is one way to better educate yourself. There's also on the Learning Center, there's a way to go in and learn more about how to manage those. And so I think that is something that I know Sterling and Andrea both said they feel like that will be something that the AG is responsible for doing, is following up with any time that that would fall in their area, that they would follow up on those. And it might not be just, I would guess that they're going to say, don't just push it onto a club. Do some direct follow up with the club it needs to go to. So that one with Pratt, I would contact the Pratt club, say that there's a membership lead out here. I'm going to send you this information. Please follow up on it. So it just doesn't fall into their inbox and then nothing happens with it. As far as other things, Rotary Club Central, I know Ken talked about the importance of helping them set goals, and I'll take that a step further to say, make sure your club knows how to set their goals in Rotary Club Central. The whole push for Rotary is getting things through Rotary Club Central, and I know that through like the Rotary citation this year, it relies a lot on that information being directly into Rotary Club Central. And we have to realize that not all of our clubs, I know my club, when I go in there and look, they haven't set their goals in Rotary Club Central. It's not something that our clubs are following through with. And so I feel like as an AG, that's something that I need to check up on my clubs on and make sure that they are putting their goals in that Rotary Club Central, and then I can help them follow through on what those membership goals are, and or other participation goals they might have put in there. And also I can track to see how they're doing on achieving that Rotary citation. I know that when I visited my clubs earlier this year, I really pushed them in a direction towards at least looking at it and using it for the Rotary citation for direction on how to set goals for their club. And so I would encourage you to be familiar with that document, and then also following up with your clubs and making sure that they do their follow up with Rotary Club Central and get their information in there. And
Kelly?
Lastly, I'm going to talk, yes.
Kelly, if we can just stop there just for a second to see if anybody has any questions before you move on. I think there's a lot of great information, and it might be helpful if people have questions or need clarification. Does anybody have any questions?
I do. This is Catherine Strecker.
Hi, Catherine. What's your question?
Hello. Well, maybe I missed it, but the AGs for next year, will they be attending all 60, the same as the governor? You know, the different Rotary clubs?
Right. Kelly, do you want to take that? Go ahead.
For our district, 5690, we're responsible for just attending our clubs that are in our area. So that in my situation, I attended 5 clubs. I have 5 clubs that I'm going to attend. And I would assume 5670 is the same way, that you're not expected to attend all the clubs, just those that are in your particular area.
Yeah, this is
We also,
what I meant.
go ahead,
What
Ken.
I meant is for next year when they consolidate.
Yeah,
Right.
This is Kurt Helper. Let me chime in on that. I would envision that in the 2019-20 year, we will keep the approximate proportion of clubs that we have currently for the AGs. So no, the expectation would not be that the AGs go to all 60 clubs. They would continue to be specialists in the clubs in their areas.
Okay, you answered it. That's wonderful.
Thanks, Kurt.
Sure.
For those of you who may not know, Kurt is our governor-elect and will be the governor for 5680. So I'm glad you're on the line. Any other questions? Anybody else? Okay, Kelly, go ahead then, if you would, please.
Okay, we've moved on to the tools page, and I've already talked about tracking clubs' goals and progress in Rotary Club Central. You should be able to see your clubs in your area to look at what they're putting in as their goals or whether they have put their goals in. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the Learning Center. And has anybody ever taken a class or looked at the Learning Center on the RA website? Well, this is a fairly new area, something that that they've really worked to get out there. This might be a good option. Well, it's a good option for us as far as things that as an AG we might not feel as comfortable with, as far as classes that are available out there. There are things on, there's a little bit on grants. There's a ton of resources on membership in the Learning Center. And there is a short one on what do you do with membership leads, and that's the class, that's the course that I decided I was going to give a try. And again, you can just you're going to, it's under the members section of Rotary.org, and once you go to that Learning Center and you're logged in, there are a lot of different classes that pop up, and they're interactive type of classes. They aren't just a watch a video. They're click here and kind of, I guess, a little bit of decision making along with them. You know, you're not real tough decisions, but they do have you click in the boxes so that you are reading it and thinking through things. And the courses are of different lengths that are out there, but it could be a tool for you to learn. It could be a tool for a president maybe that didn't make it to PETS and is needing additional information, or if you have a club that's really struggling with membership, you might encourage them. There's a class out there on engaging members, and so there's a lot of different things that are available that that RI is trying to put together because they realize that there's a need for more learning. out there. But I would encourage all of you to take time to take the course on membership leads to further your understanding of what we need to do as AGs. And then there's also lots of discussion groups out there, different things that you can, as far as on the RI website, different things that you can sign up for to get emails. I'm a member. I get emails on Rotary Training Talk. I get things from a leadership group of Rotary. There's many, many different things, and so that's another way that you can further your knowledge of Rotary, which it can be very helpful then to your clubs. If you know the answer to something when they ask you right then, I know I feel a lot better about being able to communicate with them versus always having to answer, let me get back to you on that. So, and I think I'm turning back over to Ken at this point in time.
Okay. Yeah, just to reiterate what we've talked about a little bit, you need to visit your clubs regularly. Make yourself a known quantity, especially if you undertake the responsibility of an AG for 2 or 3 years. You really get a feeling, a vibe with them. You can tell how things are going. And then keep your governor updated on each club, and that's where you need to get involved with Rotary Club Central and learn some of the ins and outs of that. And that also helps your clubs or your presentation with the clubs as far as updating their goals and keeping track. And like Kelly said, you can see each of the clubs that are assigned to you, whether or not they have their goals set or how they're doing on them, and things like that. Helping the club leaders prepare for governor's official visit. Basically, just make sure that you're available if at all possible to be there, and give them a heads up. They'll know. The club presidents get notified well in advance of when they are. You might send them a reminder if depending upon the time of year, if it's late in the season or something like that. And monitor your progress of your clubs toward their goals. Again, make sure that they know about Rotary Club Central. They have a My Rotary account set up. Some of these clubs have the old, I want to say the old bald-headed presidents like I am, that are really not computer literate, and they struggle to even get an account. So help them out if you can. Get familiar with Rotary Club Central. And then I started the presentation by saying that the role of the AG is to help your assigned clubs become more effective by assisting the DG with their administration, and it stated that it was a very broad topic. That most governors have their own expectations. I know Sterling probably has his. He'll probably talk about it. Andrea couldn't participate today, but she did send me a copy of her expectations for AGs, and I'd just like to list some of those. Obviously, she wants to attend club visits with the district governor, attend the district conference October 19th and 20th. Then after the district conference, contact club presidents monthly. Wow, and that doesn't mean you need to make a trip. In my case, I had 6 clubs, and 6 clubs, and 2 of which meet the same day as my club meeting, would have kind of wiped me out if I had to be there. But you can call them, contact them by phone, contact them by email. You could use a GoToMeeting. I learned a couple of weeks ago from the zone, we had a conference on a free type of conferencing called Zoom, and it's real similar to GoToMeeting, but it's free for up to 40 members or something like that in any one meeting, and you could teleconference with them. You might Skype if you're into that. I'm not really into that, but contact club presidents monthly to see how things are going. She also wants to attend special events hosted by clubs throughout the year when invited. Don't force yourself on them, but when they're invited. Again, visit clubs soon after January 1st to reinforce the need to identify a president-elect if it's not already done. And encourage attendance in pets. Now, I encourage not only the president-elect going to pets, but the next one in line, the designated president, or DD, PD, whatever they call them, Visit, also attend pets if you're continuing to be an AG the following year. Now, this is something we started a couple of years ago in 5670. The AGs have put together, or would like to get the AGs, the district governor would like to get the AGs to put together an area-wide club meeting of some sort. And she's budgeted $500 for each AG to hold this pancake feed or this, we did it at a chuck wagon cookout place when I was in, and it was centrally located within the area so that, not everybody had to travel 90 miles to get to it. Only a couple of clubs had to go, most of them, if you centrally locate it, you only have to go maybe 30 or 40 miles. Those of you in large metropolitan areas maybe got to go 5 miles, but that's different. And it's going to be worse as the district gets larger. But something like that to get other clubs to meet each other. We have also encouraged clubs to meet jointly, at maybe a cinema night or a potato feed or something like that. But that's, I believe, Sterling, that you'll be coming up next. That's what Andrea likes. And I'll turn it over to Sterling or Fred, whoever wants to take the lead on this.
Yeah, let's go ahead and ask Sterling to come in, and then Kurt, if maybe you can just give a brief summary of your expectations as we move into the bigger district. But Sterling, what are your expectations for our assistant governors this year?
Well, this is Sterling Hall, and I'm the governor this year for 5690, and I want to start out first by saying from Andrea and myself a profound and a big thank you for each one of you as AGs serving for this year. It's a special year for us, and we want to thank you. And then also to the two presenters today, Kelly and Ken, I want to thank you for your service and your work over the years that you've done too. I think that I can mirror a lot of Andrea's thoughts about the performance. I remember when I was an AG, an AG a number of years ago, and that's starting to be quite a few years, but one of the expectations that I got in one of my trainings was that I would visit the clubs 4 times a year. Now, I don't remember visiting all the clubs 4 times a year in each one of those 3 years. I'm sure I got there 4 times in some of the clubs, some years, and others I didn't. But here's probably the biggest expectation that you need to think about is to be physically involved with that club when your governor's there is very, very important. And for sure, you need to be there another time by yourself. Now, this year, I performed a little bit different theory on how I was going to do my visits, and that was to have the AGs do my official visit. They took the banners, they took a video, and they went and did the club visits. And I told the clubs that I wanted to be able to come to fun events for them. So that was a little different than Andrea ran it this year. She's still doing all her official visits. But as AGs with her, you should be there at every one of those meetings that she goes and visits the club. And I think it's important for you also to have communication on a monthly basis, or at least open yourself up to have a check-in with people. You can get on a conference line, a free one or something like that, and if you've got 4 clubs, you could have 4 presidents sit down for 20 or 30 minutes in an evening and do a visit. And if there's something that needs to have attention in one of those clubs, the clubs can share back and forth and you can help guide that. But being proactive is much better than reactive. And things happen to clubs at different times. People have to move and change, and all of a sudden, a club may be in a stalemate. You get a president that has to leave because of a work-related situation. That changes the dynamics quickly. And as a AG, you need to know about that. And the next thing is, a lot of times the DG, as myself, may not hear about that until it's awful late in the process. And you need to bring that up to me too, and let the district know. But the best tool you have is your resources that are available to you. The webinars that you can go to, the training that Rotary International provides now is second to none in some of their systems that they've got available to all of us. But never forget about the ability to do the communication with people. There's so many different ways of communicating. I just was sitting here listening to all of you talk, and it came to mind, we've got this district conference coming up, and I said to myself, if I could get every member's phone number from our district, I'd do a phone blast. It may cost me $100 to do the phone blast, but for 30 or 40 seconds you promote this district conference. There's so many things and tools that we have available to us. We've got Skype, we've got Zoom, we've got the webinars, everything. If you're saying you're not being able to communicate with people, then you're missing the point, I believe. You've got phone connections. People catch me all over in all kinds of situations, and a lot of times they email me and I don't seem to respond quick enough to them, and that may be true, but they send me a text and they get a pretty quick response. So I can't get away from the text, that's for sure, because it just keeps popping up on my phone no matter where I'm sitting. But use the skills that you have. You all have special skills, and Andrea and I appreciate that. And her bullet points that Kent was sharing there, I think are spot on as participating throughout the year. I think you can be assured that there will not really be any changes. Kurt can speak to this, but if you're serving 4 clubs and you're going to continue to serve as an AG next year, I can almost guarantee that you'll be serving the same 4 clubs. And you don't have to worry about traveling great distances. You'll just be within that short distance to get to those 4 clubs. And this event we're going through with a shared district conference and the uniqueness of emerging 2 districts is such a wonderful, wonderful event. And it's going to be so profound. I am looking so forward to the new fellowships and friendships to the north, and I hope you're looking to us to the south in the same way. We all have different unique traits and special gifts, and there are things in 70 that are greater than things we do in 90, and vice versa. We've got some things that we do that seem to be great for us that you don't have too. And the blending of those two is just going to make a tremendous new district. And I'm excited for Kurt and his service to us as governor. I'll turn this back over to Fred, but thank you again for your service time and being on this webinar with us today.
Thanks, Sterling. And Kurt, I'm going to turn it over to you to maybe just give a few remarks for the future.
I guess you'll hear those a lot better if I unmute myself like this, won't you? So, I should preface this with saying that I really wasn't even aware that there were assistant governors, I don't think, until a former assistant governor asked me what had driven me to say, sure, I'll be a district governor. And he'd had a chance to look at the role of the assistant governor and look at what all district governors do, and realize the magnitude of each of those jobs. Sterling's right. I think moving forward, I have looked at trying to figure out, is there a way to kind of realign the areas to maybe get overlap between the areas being served currently in each of the districts. But when you look at where the clubs are geographically and you look at the need for the assistant governors to have that special knowledge of the clubs, I'm pretty much envisioning the areas will remain pretty static. What I think I will be looking to the assistants for a lot is helping to build this two-way street. We talked a lot at Zone Institute just a couple weeks ago that the real function of the district is to support the clubs, and the real function of a district governor is to make sure the district is fulfilling that role. I think the assistant governor role in facilitating that communication, much more helping the district understand what the club's needs are than vice versa, is going to be one of the big focuses that we have. The idea of doing joint meetings among clubs is something that I really want to try to explore, simply because we are going from about 30 clubs each to a total of 60 clubs, and that's a lot of places to be, especially when you spread them all over Kansas. It isn't as bad as a district I know of, which is Alaska and the Yukon combined. And at Zone, I found people who have like the entire state of New Mexico and part of Texas. So I can't complain about the geography very much, but it's a lot different from what we've been doing. So I will want to work with the AGs to find those clubs that can try and do joint meetings or joint events. Ken talked about doing like a chuck wagon thing or a pancake feed and do a kind of an area meeting. All of those things will have a great deal of potential, I think, in building relationships between the clubs and between the club and the district. So that's a lot of the work that I see moving forward. We're also going to largely have double the number of assistant governors in a sense. We have the same total number, but we'll all be in one district structure. So I expect to use pretty liberally things like Zoom or GoToMeeting to have regular meetings with the AGs to talk about where are we, what's going on in your area, and share ideas as we try to find the growth internally. Because I think, as Sterling said, both districts bring their own unique and pretty cool experiences to the table. And what we will be doing is building the foundation for sharing those experiences and making the whole district as strong as we can by drawing on each of those strengths. And that's where the local specialization that the AGs bring will be very valuable. One thing that I'm going to be looking at administratively is succession planning. Theoretically, AGs serve for one-year terms, and theoretically they serve 3 of those, and then they take a couple of years off. And I don't know that 5690 has done a good job observing that, and I don't intend to upset the apple cart right away just because of how long someone's been in office. But I'm going to want all of the AGs to work with clubs to identify all kinds of future leaders and look at how we bring more fresh faces into the process as well. Ken referred to the value that he got out of attending some Zone Institute functions, and particularly from the standpoint as an emerging leader. I'm hoping that the AGs can work with the clubs to help identify those emerging leaders. And this year is a really good year to start working on that, because not only do we get a new zone structure or a new district structure, they're realigning the zones. And so our Zone Institute will be different this year. We'll have a different array of clubs participating, but more importantly, it will be in Overland Park, Kansas. So it will be very attainable for our emerging leaders, our membership leaders, our foundation leaders, our public image leaders to all go and participate and help develop a plan for the future in the very same year that we are working on putting our own district together to maximize our ability to grow. So I think the year has a lot of exciting potential. I think we want to focus as much as possible on doing things together with clubs, maintaining communications between all of the areas, and making sure we get leadership lined up for PETS and Zone Institutes, because those are going to be the key to identifying and training the people who will help keep us moving forward, not just in 19 and 20, but in 25 and forward from there.
Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody does. So are there questions or comments from anybody? We have a small group, so just let us know. I'm not hearing anybody coming online. Give it another couple of, oops. Sounds like somebody might be. No? Okay. Well, since there are no questions, what I would encourage you all to do is if you do have questions in the future, please reach out to Sterling, Andrea, Kurt, reach out to our two presenters, Ken and Kelly, and I'm sure any one of those folks would be happy to answer your questions, talk with you about what we're doing and how to do your job the best you can do. I do want to remind everybody that copies of the slides whoops, I'm getting feedback from somebody. Can we put our phones on mute? Thank you. Copies of this presentation will be available through a recording, and the link will be sent to you in the next couple of days. There are a couple of things that were mentioned that I really want to have you to stress. Is somebody trying to come in? No? We will, in the next year, in the next Rotary year, have Zoom available. It is being budgeted for, and we will want to make sure that we use that format. And so if you want to be thinking about the next year, Zoom meetings are going to be a lot more available to you for you and your clubs. There are three sets of skill sets that came out today that I want to stress. One is your management skills. All of us are in some kind of business or profession where we have to use management. And I would encourage all of us to use the good management skills we use in our everyday business lives as we approach our roles in Rotary. The second is communication. As in any organization, communication is essential, and we hope that you will use excellent communication skills. I think Sterling mentioned several, whether it's face-to-face, phone, electronic, regardless of what the communication process is, be sure to use good communication skills and follow up with people within 24 to 48 hours. Don't allow a communication to sit in a black hole. And the last is engagement. To be a successful business person, we've got to be engaged with what our vision and mission and daily roles are and goals and so forth. Well, the same is true in Rotary. For your club, for our district, for Rotary to be successful, we all have to be engaged and stay engaged for the time that we are in our roles. Whoops, sorry, wrong way. There you go. Once again, this is a slide that shows up on each of the webinars. It is a list of email addresses and resources for you. Just some. Kelly was spot on when she mentioned the directories. They give you even more detailed information. I do want to stress that Catherine Stecker and myself as district trainers in the two districts stand ready to help you in whatever way we can. And of course, we cannot leave without giving a big Rotary thank you to Ken and Kelly for their role in facilitating this session. I do want to thank Ken and Kelly. I also want to thank Andrea and Sterling and Kurt for being resources out there as well. Kelly mentioned Rotary.org. There is a ton of information, so be sure to go there. And finally, a special thanks to Sue Pierce. Sue Pierce is a past district governor for 5690, and she has graciously given us access to this GoToMeeting platform, and it's free. And so we like free, and and we do thank Sue for that. With that, I want to say thank you to all of you, assistant governors, presenters, resources, for being on this this webinar. If you have any other questions, please feel free to email any of us, and be on the lookout for any future Joint District webinars. One question that I will leave you with, and I ask that you perhaps email me directly, is what webinars would you think your clubs or our districts need to have that we've not had so far? What topics, what skill sets do we need to address? It would be great if we had some people just giving us that information. So with that, please be the inspiration in your communities, in our district, our districts, and go out there and be a great Rotarian. With that, I say good evening, and you can log off, and I'm going to stop this recording now. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Fred.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred.
Thanks and goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.